So we're out of the playoffs. I'm just not going to mess with the Lions after all. And we'll just see what happens. Maybe the Butte Bruisers will make their way back towards the Calder Cup final. They are going on to the third round as they handle the Marlies. They take on Springton and are down 0-2 and are tied 2-2 and are up 3-2 and are going to Game 7, and they're not going to the Calder Cup final. All right. Montreal and Minnesota in the playoffs, by the way. So, positives this year. We made the playoffs for the first time, and Butte was 1 win away from a Calder Cup final. Negatives. We lost to Carolina, and the Butte Bruisers did not make it to the Calder Cup final. So we are continuing to progress forward, even if it's not by as much as we were hoping at any given point. Minnesota still led by Kaprizov. Jesus Christ, apparently they were terrible because they have some damn good players. That is a pretty good team. They're going to be a problem for the next couple of years, for sure. For sure. That is yet another, I believe. I don't think they've won at all so far. That's another different cup winner. Austin Matthews wins the Art Ross and the Hart Trophy. Jamie Drysdale wins the Norris. Nick Suzuki the Bing. Calder went to Misbister. Kaprizov wins the Conn Smythe. Shesterkin another Vezina. Jack Adams goes to that Sharks coach. He's unreal. Nico Hischier wins another Selke. Ted Lindsay to Austin Matthews. Rocket Richard went to Vorobiev and Matthews. AHL-wise, Huselius was league MVP. Landeskog scored the most goals. Galloway was the top rookie. Or not Galloway, Holloway. I read that as a G instead of an H. Datsuk was the best defenseman. I am now officially sad that that team just won that much hardware, but didn't make the final. With that, the drafts. First time ever we won't be a lottery team. So, of course, there is a power forward projected to go second overall. You hate to see it. But no lottery for us. Let's deal with it as best we can. Apparently being in the top 3 wouldn't have been all that beneficial to begin with. So, not the worst case scenario. But yes, hopefully this season is a sign of things to come in terms of improvement. And hopefully, maybe, possibly, we can end up with a half-decent draft pick that can really add up offensively. Warrior, I am doing okay. How are you? My goodness. Am I regretting tinkering at all? Am I regretting that? I don't think I am. I really don't think it was going to matter. Like, the fact, like, people can look at this team and just be like, how are you making the playoffs? But then at the same time, if I tinker, they'll be like, why'd you tinker? So, you know. To the draft we go. Let's do it. Let's do it. I read that as Jonathan Huberdeau has had many concussions, by the way. Which, you know. Pick number 23. Oh my God, how am I going to have a successful draft with this? Pick number 23. A low elite defensive defenseman would probably help. Pick number 23. I do remember in chat when it was said, are you worried about getting too good too fast and not having what you need? And I said, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I am now regretting some things. Just a few things. Just a few. All right. Okay, I think that's all we can really look at for the first. For the first pick, you did want to rush it. I mean, I had no choice, though. I knew with the talent that we were getting that it wouldn't matter. Let's look at forwards first because we know there's a lot of defensive options. There's actually a lot of forward options. So at center, medium 9, Glenny. We obviously have to aim higher than that. Another medium 9. Don't really trust Stuart Auld. What about Wyatt Bulleries? 4 years out, unconfirmed. Make it snappy. He's looking better. Left wing, Nolan Hart. Wyatt Andrechuk. On the right, Alex Labelle. And Dmitry Anisimov. So we pretty much have our forward if we were to take one, which surprisingly would be Wyatt Bulleries, with hopefully him actually being a grinder. The problem is defensively there are a couple of low elites. That is the problem. Johann Lack, unconfirmed abilities. Says the German Max Heinrich, 3 years out, has no contest. Yeah, it's probably going to be Heinrich. It's Heinrich or Valin, basically. So Valin, pretty similar grades. Heinrich's a little bit better. Both 3 years out. Both have X factors. We can't confirm Valin being a DFD, even though it's 3 out of 4, but we can confirm Heinrich being a DFD because he is 6'5". I mean, again, Heinrich has the better starting grades anyway. Max Heinrich, you're our choice, buddy. 64 rated low elite defenseman with no contest, truculence, shutdown, yoinking back at you. Welcome to the further log jam of defensemen. A problem that just won't go away. There is Richard Gudis in this next round. Also that goalie Hannon, but again, we don't really need a goalie. Hello! Low elite gem power forward, potentially. All right, there might just be hope yet. There might just be some optimism here. So goalie-wise, we're not going to worry about him. There is Gudis, who is a near-confirmed medium elite, 4 years out at 19. Interesting. And then for the forward, let's look at the other guy first. Ashton looks terrible. Guy Blouin. It has to be Guy. It's Guy or Gudis. We can only get one, and we have to aim for the forward. I am so worried about him being a low top 6, though. That potential absolutely sucks. Guy, don't let me down. It has not been a very successful franchise night so far. Not at all. Not at all. Hannum was a medium starter. We are at least going to get Richard Gudis in the 3rd round, apparently. So we got them both. A gift from the gods. No abilities for Gudis. 60 overall, medium elite at 19 years old. Makes this draft look just a little bit better. Just a smidge, as we say. My goodness, that was incredibly lucky. Like, incredibly lucky. Now, I know I am pitting some players to the list here that do not fit the typical bill of what we look for. But that is because at this stage, I am willing to risk taking players and having them not be an approved player type. Out of pure desperation. Like, Maurice Lemaire is 6'4", 199. Pretty confident that's going to be a defensive defenseman. Same with these forwards. Granted, they're projected to be way down the board. But Gervais Chouinard at 6'3", 203, Vikingstad. You know. So screw it. Let's risk it. Maurice Lemaire. Are you actually a DFD who might be half decent? He's a two-way and he sucks. Wow. So that is a player that we will never use. The next round. Let's continue with this risky approach. Vikingstad. Also a two-way. Also terrible. Round 6. Not much is going my way right now. We'll take Ricard Santaviori. Two-way forward, low elite. We can't use him. And round number 7. Gervais Chouinard. Also a two-way. Okay. Well, that was highly, highly unfortunate. We took a bit of a risk. Had to hope for the best. And boy, did that not work out for us. Congratulations to the Anaheim Ducks. The winner is you. There you go. All right. This has been a rather rough night so far. We got bounced from the playoffs. We failed to make the Calder Cup final. And then we had a decent draft at the first 3 picks, but then the prospect pool really dried up. All right. Goalies, we're just going to hold on to the 6 that we have. Things can only get better. You would hope. We'll qualify Sutter, Sigalette, Cheng, Fowler, Day, who hasn't gotten better in years at this point. Joseph, famous for having an ability and not much else. On the wing. Let's qualify the RFAs, and then we'll figure it out for the depth options a little bit later. Holt's a UFA as well. He's about to get paid the frickin' sun and the moon. All right. Let's qualify all of our RFAs, and then we'll figure it out. But this is looking a little bit rough. So defensively, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, that's if it worked in the typical way. We have to sign Robertson, even though he was pretty bad last year. Sign him up. Datsuk we could keep for the hell of it, just to have a proper amount of defenders. Because presumably all these guys are playing in the NHL, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then honestly, we could play Max Heinrich as soon as possible, although he might be playing at the NHL level. Same for Gudis. We're going to sign him immediately. So let's just sign Joey Granato, and at 20 years old, he should be able to play. So yeah, we're going to keep Datsuk then. Well, it's a little bit more money than I'd prefer to pay him. Muted, it's a hell of a show. It's a hell of a show. It just got a lot more difficult to keep this team together. A lot more difficult. Although Holt did sign. We have $20 million left in space. All right, and looking at this, someone like Jackson Penner, he's never going to get better. He was a 5th rounder 2 years ago. He's gone. Jonathan Parra was a 7th rounder 2 years ago. He's never going to get better. He's out. Connor Shen, 4th rounder 2 years ago. Boy, that 2029 draft was something. He's gone. Harding might get better. We'll sign him to his ELC. Brendan Claxon, he's just not going to get better. He is very physical. But I can't imagine having to keep him. If we look at our defense, right? So presumably, out of the 18 skaters, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If not, and even further, 9 and 10. Leaving 8 spots for forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in the AHL, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 dudes too many. So Claxon, yeah, I think they're all going to go. So Brendan Claxon, 6th round pick in 2024. We're going to let you go. Marcel, 4th round pick from our first ever draft. He's gone. Liam Persson, 4th rounder in 2023. He's gone. Alexei Zaitsev, 7th rounder in 2023. He's going to go too. And honestly, I think Huselius as well, 5th rounder in 2024. He's out too. Now, looking at a lot of these player attributes, I'm kind of regretting not playing some of them. And just seeing if maybe they could have developed. But it's too late for that now. So UFAs were good. Now it's just a matter of getting the RFAs to sign, and pretty much the game plan is just to match whatever deal comes through. So I don't know what this team's going to look like heading into next season. That's my guess. We're also going to have to sign a couple of coaches, some staff members. The free agent market, led by a guy named Conboy. There's Marco Casper. Yeah, I mean, the AI players have certainly taken over at this stage. Let's figure out the coaching staff really quickly, hopefully. We have 2 open spots and a goalie coach. We're going to go for the 2 best that we possibly can, including JC Nichols, who was on this team for the last couple of years. We're going to take about 16 years to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and hope that that's enough. Outside of that, let's go for this dude. The Vigilante as an associate coach, where we will scroll and scroll and scroll. All right, let's hope that's enough. Hope that's enough. Oh yeah, Decol, it's great to not be able to just manually change it. It's wonderful. Thea Rensfeld, let's send an offer to you, and Maria Sasaki. That should handle our scouting. Hey, there we go. Nichols has signed, which is awesome. Vigilante has not. That is unfortunate. Sasaki accepted the deal first. All right, so one more coach. It needs to be an associate coach at the AHL level. And we will give old Joel just a little bit more money. So let's scroll for Joel. Look at us goal. Back to the playoffs, I hope. Have I killed this joke yet? Have I? I hope that I have. Lack of forwards are crazy. Yeah, when we were bad, there were no medium elite power forwards to select at the top of the draft. And then they showed up once we were half decent. That's been our big issue. Our very, very big issue. Joel, you piece of Schmidt. Jameson Fowler took the qualifying offer at least. Let's Joel's still there. All right, Joel. Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's sit here for a year. Let's sit here for a year. Old Batman himself. You're going to get to buy all the mustard after this. Go ahead, chat. Tugane, impromptu Q&A. While we wait 16 years so I can try to guarantee that this guy signs. Son of a bitch. What a life we live, huh? What a life. Good time. Today. What's the worst mode in NHL 23? Worst mode in NHL 23. Ones. Ones is the worst mode in NHL 23. Easily. Well, yeah, of course there's a feature in HUT to avoid this, but for franchise, nah. Nah, can't do it. Can't do it, Chief. Gotta sit here for 6 years. One still doesn't have an invite system. Pro clubs or ESHL? Pro clubs. I have actually enjoyed EASHL more for the past couple weeks for whatever goddamn reason. But, yeah. The old FIFA Pro Clubs experience is still too strong, I tell ya. It's still too strong. Hey, there we go. We made it. Look at that. Well, GG's. Now, if he rejects this, I might cry. Couple of RFAs accepting, and there's Vigilante. Okay, good. Remember when you sat there and did the Crosby move for like 5 minutes and it never registered? No, I don't, actually. I believe that happened, but I don't remember it at all. All right. Hooray for qualifying offers. This is beautiful. None of our players got offer sheeted. Eli Manning is still here. Still got to deal with Brandon Sutter. You were playing Hut Rush. I don't remember that at all. Scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you the Pats will be halfway decent? 3. Oh, boy. Let's not talk about the Patriots after Thanksgiving Day. Let's not talk about them. So let's see. RFAs, we still have to sign Summers. One douche who decided to be a holdover. In that time, it'll give me a chance to optimize the goalers. Well, the staff, actually, and the goalie coach. So really quickly, we do have a lot of coaches. We're going to go with J.C. Nichols as our head coach. Our AHL head coach is going to be Duncan, which is good because he's already there. So let's see, a power play coach right there. Bam. And on PKs, going to be Inglis. Drop Hines down, bump up the goalie coach. We'll have to sign another one. Neither of these guys are great at teaching a PK, but that's okay. Let's just sign a goalie coach really quickly. And we'll see kind of what the setup is going to be next season. I was a bit worried there wasn't going to be a half-decent goalie coach, but then there was Emilia Coscalanta. We'll go ahead and sign her. Scouts really quickly. We'll have one to fix. And it's going to be sending you over to Finland. Sweet, beautiful Finland, which I hope to return to quite soon, in fact. So we send forward a couple of days, wait for the RFA to sign. All right, now let's find out what the hell this team's going to be. Because I don't know if I'm going to have a ton of confidence in it. Kavasha and Anderson are still the goalies. Hodgson is getting better. Let's call up Vinovidovici as the NHL backup. in exchange for Datsuk. So our defense is still looking hilarious. Andrechuk's not going to really get any better. But Heinrich, the low elite, and then Gudis, the medium elite, the sooner we get those guys, I'm thinking to the NHL as opposed to the AHL, the better. And then Khalil Joseph, really kind of irrelevant. For the forwards, Milroy, Barlow, Landeskog, they can all be dropped. Summers and Brule. Brule is not getting any better, but at least he has an X factor for the chemistry, is my thought. Let's just double check. Defensively, there's the low 4 with abilities. And then forward-wise, Franzen did go up by 4 last year, which isn't a ton. So you could argue that maybe, just maybe, he'd be better served elsewhere. Say we call up Franzen. Say we call up Andrechuk and Joseph. I need to experiment around with this. Is it more valuable to have Andrechuk and Joseph on this team? Let me test this. As ridiculous as this is going to look, and it is going to look absolutely ridiculous, the thought is, if we use everyone that has a badge, we can guarantee good chemistry just like this, because we don't really get punished for the defenders playing forwards because they have badges. As stupid as that is. And trust me, it's stupid as fuck. So out of these defensemen, we'd want to move Sigalet over to forward. The question is, for whom? And it would either be Robertson or Cheng. What if we move Cheng over? All right, I got my answer. So Sigalet for Robertson is the play. And Robertson again out for Mr. Sigalet. That way, we are guaranteed +5s across the board. Defensively for like the 3rd, 4th year in a row. But now here, we can also look to set this up pretty well. We don't really care about Andrechuk or Joseph. I want Heinrich on a higher line. Looking at this, Rintoul, Summers. I do want Heinrich on a higher line, if possible. Have to be Heinrich or Cheng. Cheng's honestly not going to get that much better. Honestly, that works for a 4th line. And we do have a coach that rolls 4 lines. Heinrich fits in well in that 2nd line. Franzen, it doesn't really matter. Sigalet, it doesn't really matter. Brule is a good fit for the 2nd line. Summers is the best fit for the 1st. And Rintoul needs to be off of this line. Get a +5 with Bowden's. +3 by swapping over Summers. I'm a big fan of that +5. Honestly, I don't hate it. Hedberg was arguably our best forward. He and Rintoul. This, in theory, should never, ever, ever work. But it just might. But it just frickin' might. I'm going to try that to start the year. And kind of see how it plays out. Especially with an 89 rated Kavasha in goal. 2 +5s, one on the second line, one on the fourth. Which means as well, the AHL is going to be stacked. Absolutely stacked. I mean, Blomqvist is already there. We'll have Hodgson, the medium elite, behind him. Defensively, we are going to have forwards play defense. And that's a bit of a shame. Ermistrov isn't ours, right? Yeah, he's just a rando. Sundqvist and Ricardo Reed are both ours. Kravchenko isn't ours. All right. Get Sundqvist in there. Is there one other dude in this lineup that wasn't actually ours? Doesn't appear to be the case. Sorry to Walker Russo, but it looks like you're the odd one out. There isn't going to be much we can do defensively either to fix that. So, that's going to be the AHL team. The forwards, the goaltenders should be enough. And then NHL-wise, we are just trying to absolutely abuse the abilities and the chemistry that they provide. But right now, I'm honestly a little bit worried that any forward momentum has probably stalled out. I think, as I've said, we're going to be too good to be bad, but too bad to be good, which means we're going to miss out on higher draft picks. We might, maybe, possibly be screwed.